If we die, we want people to accept it. We are in a risky business, and we hope that if anything happens to us, it will not delay the program. The conquest of space is worth the risk of life. Gus Grissom. Falls under fair use as it's a parody. If you don't have a sense of humor, go. Welcome. Is this my reality? Is this your reality? Welcome to Not My Reality. Most people are familiar with the names of the famous astronauts who pioneered the early space program that led to the first lunar landing in 1969, allegedly. Names like Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, John Glenn, and Alan Shepard are familiar in the pantheon of space pioneers. There's one name, though, that's less recognized, but equally as important: Gus Grissom. Virgil Ivan Grissom, better known as Gus Grissom. He was the second man in U.S. history to fly into space, preceded only by Alan Shepard and the cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin, who I heard Yuri didn't quite make it back. On July 21st, 1961, Gus Grissom reached the suborbital altitude of about 118 miles above the Earth's surface in a 15-minute flight before making his descent in the Mercury capsule, which he dubbed the Liberty Bell 7. This event started the controversy in Grissom's career as he narrowly escaped death from what initially appeared to be a botched landing from his failure to execute protocol, but actually turned out to be a faulty mechanism in the capsule's hatch release. Grissom landed in the Atlantic Ocean in choppy waters, where the hatch door blew open prematurely. Grissom immediately jumped out without making the necessary adjustments to prevent water from seeping into his already 22-pound spacesuit. Meanwhile, the capsule itself, which was supposed to be recovered, started taking on water, making it way too heavy to be hoisted out of the ocean by helicopter. Eventually, the helicopter just gave up, realizing he wouldn't be able to tow the capsule to shore, and noticing that Grissom was minutes away from drowning. Though he was saved, Grissom came under heavy criticism for not following procedure, leading many to believe that he just panicked and released the hatch too soon. Grissom denied these claims, stating that the hatch released randomly and that he never even touched the activation plunger, though it was later proven that the hatch released to no fault of Grissom's. Support the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscription button, smash that notification bell. We don't get all that funding that NASA does. What are they doing with it?
Copy that. It is on and center. Hey, how are we going to get to the moon if we can't talk between three buildings? I can't hear a thing you're saying. Hey! Oh, there's got a fire in the cockpit. It's pouring a big fire! Hey, crew, can you egress at this time? Confirm it. Bad leader, get in there and help them. Bad leader, CSCC.
Grissom, along with two other astronauts, Roger Chaffee and Edward White, were slated to launch the inaugural mission of the Apollo program in February of 1967. About a month prior to the designated launch, the crew gathered at Cape Kennedy Air Force Station for a plugs-out test, which is essentially a mock launch. Within the first few hours, it became clear that there were numerous issues with the module. The crew reported a foul smell coming from their breathing oxygen system, as well as issues with their communication system. Grissom was notably aggravated with the technical difficulties, and he was even recorded as saying, "How are we going to get to the moon if we can't talk between 2 or 3 buildings?" And he called the module a bucket of screws. But Grissom had also shown frustrations with the program leading up to that day, having purportedly told his wife Betty that if there were ever a serious accident in the space program, it would likely involve him. He was also said to have grabbed a lemon from a tree on his property before heading to the base and tying it to the hatch of the simulator. Gus Grissom was a pisser. That's what it sounds like. When he was asked by the media what he thought the chances were of the Apollo mission succeeding, he replied he thought they were slim. A few hours into the simulation, a spark from under Grissom's seat ignited a fire that would quickly engulf the entire capsule. The pure oxygen and highly pressurized cabin quickly fueled the fire and prevented the astronauts from being able to open the hatch, trapping them inside. They all perished before NASA employees were able to open the hatch and free them. Now get this, NASA claimed that the fire burned toxic chemicals, causing the astronauts to die from asphyxiation within a minute. Though a claim from someone within the private contractor, North American Aviation, said that the crew struggled to open the hatch for a full 5 minutes. NAA had been the primary contractor in the building of the module, and they were put under intense scrutiny when a congressional investigation exposed documented evidence of failings and inadequacies in the company's development process. So we established that NASA lied about how long they suffered inside of that capsule. It wasn't a minute, it was 5 minutes. What else is going on with NASA? Well, in 1999, the charred remains of the test module that trapped Grissom and his 2 colleagues was opened up for Grissom's family to see. Now, Grissom's son Scott noticed a fabricated metal plate behind a switch on one of the instrumentation panels. He believed that the switch was used to deliberately create a spark that would have ignited the cabin, killing his father and the other astronauts. This story was supposedly backed by an aerospace contractor who worked for McDonnell Douglas, a company that later merged with Boeing. Scott Grissom believed that NASA didn't want his father to be the first man on the moon after his botched Liberty Bell 7 landing. He said he believed that NASA might not have trusted him and was likely upset with Grissom's outspoken frustration with the technical difficulties in the Apollo program. Yeah, I think hanging a lemon on it, that might have pissed him off a little bit, but that's just me. Grissom has said he's not exactly sure why NASA or the government would want to prevent his father from continuing in the program to the extent that they would sabotage him, but he believes it was intentional. And Gus Grissom's wife, Betty, she agrees with her son, saying that she too believes her husband was murdered. In the end, Grissom's eerie, prophetic statement to his wife was right. The first serious accident in the space program did involve him. Was this just an unfortunate accident, part of a learning experience for NASA, or were the 3 astronauts about to reveal NASA would have never had the technology to land on the moon and they were intending to fake the entire thing? And the U.S. security services could not allow this to happen and arranged to have them taken out in what looked like an accident on the launch platform. We want to know, what do you think? Did we go to the moon or did we fake it? And my personal question to you is, why is no one going back if we went there? Was Gus Grissom silenced to protect the moon landing hoax, or was it just an accident in the learning process? Leave a comment down below. Like and share. Now let's get the fuck out of here. I got a craving for a glass of lemonade.